Hello everybody, this is Carol from Friendly Quail. It's not Tuesday, but I'm doing Try Something New Tuesday today because I had doctor appointments the last couple days, and in fact, I had a dentist appointment and my mouth was frozen, so I couldn't even talk. So I had this ready to go, and I've just had it sitting here waiting to be able to do this. I had another doctor appointment. I was supposed to see the doctor. My appointment was for 11 o'clock a.m. I saw her about 1:30, and I was sitting in the office that entire time until I finally got called in, and I wasn't the only one. So it's just been a couple of trying days. And now I'm going to get on with it. What I did was I watched a video by Kathleen Mower, and I will link it below, where she used old slides and used them differently in her journals. Now, I had some of these slides like this. They are not the cardboard ones. These are plastic, and they're snapped together. But using her same method, by taking a palette knife, any slide, you can go in like this and you can pop it apart. They're usually glued though. And you take out the slide, and I've used these like along the side of a page, kind of on a ribbon. And she did that too, but I had done it before I saw hers. But I do have some of the cardboard slides somewhere, but these were the ones that I pulled out and I found. And so what I'm doing is took them apart and took out the picture, and I'm cutting off this hinge that's on the side. Now, this would be really boring to just have this white. And it doesn't say, it says like there are some things kind of in the plastic. It says a name and it might have a picture or whatever, but it would be really boring. So I thought, what can I do? And I tried some alcohol inks on them, and it worked beautifully. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And then I'll decorate a few things. Now, these are a couple that I have done. And this one, I have a picture of a bird in it. And of course, you can see it so much better than the slide. And this one, I just put a fussy cut plant in it, coming out of it, and goes underneath here and over here, and just decorated up some tags. I don't have anything in the top. I'll probably put a slot up here yet. I haven't done that yet, but I wanted to see if it would work with the plastic, and I think they turned out really nice. So I'm going to show you what I did. And I have a bunch of things like this. These are things that I thought would make good tags. This was actually just the bottom of my spraying box when I sprayed flowers with that I cut out of newspaper and paper. And I sprayed, those types of inks that you get from Tim Holtz, or I had some really old ones that were what were they called? Delusions. That was actually Ranger before they started making the other ones. This is also inks that I sprayed on card. And sometimes I take an old, ugly piece of scrapbook paper that I would never use for anything else, and I put gesso all over it, and then I stamp on it, and you get something like this. And these are just cardstock and things like that. So I always have a bunch of these. So I pulled out some of those and decided to make some things out of it. Now this, I had made a masterboard, and I copied it, and it was bigger than a regular piece of typing paper, so I just moved it into different spots and copied it, and then I printed it and I cut it into tag shapes and things like that. Some of them had, like that was a Tim Holtz flower. This is a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera. I had a piece of doily, you know, some old, and the rest was all scraps. And I had made a masterboard and I really liked it, and I've since used the real masterboard up, but I think that they make a nice background. These are both on things from that masterboard, and I like how they look. So I took apart one of these, and I'm going to show you then what I did to make them pretty, and then I'll show you decorating using a few more ideas. So I have over on this side, I have all browns and golds and things to make it look like old, you know, grungy stuff. And on this side, I have some colored ones so that I can try, you know, like pinks and blues and greens and that type of thing. And so I just put it in, this is just a little plastic lid of something. And I took the alcohol inks, and this brand that I have, I would never buy again. It's by Marabou, I think. I don't think they work quite as well, but I'm still using them. And I'm just putting a couple drops on the slide in various spots. And it starts to spread out. And then I'm using something else. This one's called, let's see, let me use this one. Marigold. Okay, so it's a yellow. And I'm just kind of putting that. And some of it is next to, some of it is right kind of on top of the brown. And doing that. And then I take a paintbrush and I just kind of smeared it around. So in some parts the yellow is going together with the brown, and other parts it's not. And I made sure, because I have kind of white on the inside here and on the outside, that I just kind of made sure to paint it on the outside like that. I don't know if you can tell, but that brown, it didn't do very well. You know, kind of parts of it smeared, you know, and you can see the brown in there, but as far as looking really good, wasn't the best. So then I just kind of, as it's drying a little bit, I just sort of start playing with it a little and trying to get a little bit of a different look on it. And I should have put on my gloves, because you get alcohol ink on your fingers, and gosh, you have to do dishes in order to get it off. Or wash your hair. But it does come off. But I was going to put gloves on. Had them out before I totally get a mess. So this one turned out a little bit more yellow. And once I, that way I can do the edges and make sure that the edges are also painted with the alcohol ink so that they're not white. And it dries pretty fast, so I'm just going to kind of lay that over there. And let's try another one. And this is butterscotch. It's actually the one I use mostly for my faux cellophane cellophane tape for old, faux old cellophane tape. Okay. And let's see. This is lemon. This is, there's a lot of ink on here. Okay. Close it up. I really like how that one turned out. That first one I did. This might be too much yellow, because the butterscotch is kind of a goldy color too. Get the edges done, the inside edges. That's just a little too much yellow for me. But it might be pretty in something floral or whatever too. So the butterscotch I had too much of. Maybe I'll just drop. I've got some coffee. I'll put a little bit of that on. Oop, this one was never opened up. To cut the end off of it. This brand is Picasso. Ooh, look at that. And the marigold was that too. And it's better. It's better. See how that's just kind of flowing into itself? And if I do that, I drag some of that away and put it into another area. It's butterscotch. See, I like that a little bit better when I can get a little bit more like grunge look to it. I make a lot of grungy journals. And I don't mind having some of the yellow, and the butterscotch almost looks orangey. And it'll dry lighter, my guess, than what this is. Okay. So that is what I did to the, here, I got the plastic slides to get them to look a little more fun, a little more grungy. All right, I'm going to set this aside, and I am going to grab this one out, because this, I'm going to use some blue and greens and things like that. Let's see, this is called Sapphire. So you're kind of just playing. And I figure if I could play and do my last week I did the swatches, watercolor swatches. Let's see. If I put a little bit of this on, this is manganese blue. Oh, another one that I didn't have opened up. I've had these for a while, but I just haven't used all the colors. So that's another good reason to use them. Like Anna does, use it or lose it. Yeah. Couple of different blues. This is just an old crappy paintbrush that I found in our house when we moved here. And there's about a dozen of them, so I'm using them like for stuff like this where I don't. It'll always just be for alcohol ink. Now, I'm going to put, this is lime. I'm just going to put a drop of that green in here. One I did yesterday, I thought it looked sort of like Aurora Borealis. See, the lighter blue is almost all gone. Take some of that off. And like I said, they do tend to dry a little lighter than what they look like when you're first doing them. So keep that in mind when you're deciding what colors to use. So this one, I have to make sure I get the edges. It's hard to do that. When it's laying down. Now when you have alcohol ink and you put more alcohol or alcohol ink, it wakes it up, put it that way. So I could end up cross-contaminating colors if I did that and got some, I touched something else. Now we'll see what happens. I am going to use, this is like a hot pink. Now I have blue on the brush. Blue green. And put a little of this blue in there. Okay. I'm just playing. So, I'm getting some purple in there. That's what I would hope would happen. Kind of taking some of the really thick part off. Okay, so just play. If you have plastic ones or if you have anything else that's plastic, try alcohol ink on it and see if you can jazz it up a little bit. I'm going to do one more just with purple, this fuchsia. I didn't realize there were so many that I hadn't used. Okay, I'm not going to put any green on this. I'm going to put some parakeet. Well, that's green. Parakeet green. This is blue-green. Maybe I'll just put some of this blue on. And let it mix together. I'm not getting it on. I'm getting it on the bottom. Now, when I'm working with alcohol inks, I tend to keep some regular alcohol. I got a bottle of alcohol right here, so that if I want to, I can get some of this stuff up and put it onto something. I've just got way too much blue on here. After I finish this one, I'm going to, I might put a little more fuchsia on there. I'm going to show you making some things. I'm just putting some drops on there now so that it kind of spreads out. Let's see if we can get some lighter color in there. Put a little hot pink on there. That's cool looking. I'm going to leave that alone, I think. Take some of this off of here. Here. And then afterwards, if you want to, if you want to clean them off, you have to use alcohol to clean off the brushes. But I tend to just leave mine, and then I use the same brush when I use it again. Okay, I'm just going to put that over here, out of the way. Back there. See, it does look different when it dries. It gets much lighter. These are not that dark. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to clean this off a little. And get the alcohol ink that's just sitting on here because I don't want to get it on my tags. These are dry already. They dry pretty fast. So my husband went to carving tonight. He belongs to a woodworking club, and there's a guy who lets him meet at his shop. He used to make wood cabinets, and now he's retired, so he has all this equipment and different stuff like that. And he's letting the carvers go on there as well. Okay. All right, now, once you have them, see, here's one that I painted just yellow and green and kept it kind of far apart. And you can make it just like a snippet if you want to. Now this one, I thought if I put this in here like this, that would be kind of cool. Maybe I should angle it toward more of the green. Yeah. So it's sort of sticking out, but it's not totally sticking out. And what I did is, if I put a flower like this, I'm going underneath this part right here. Also, I did distress all of these things already. So this one's going to be like this. So I'm going to put a little under here. And try to get, I'm using my art glitter glue. Just kind of getting it on there. Then what I'm going to do is put it onto this fabric like this, kind of. Not quite totally sideways, but you can use art glitter glue, or I could use my my Fabri-Tac, because I am putting it onto fabric. And Fabri-Tac kind of works a little better because it's thicker. And like on this side, there's the dots that, you know, some of them have the holes. This one has the dots where the dot came out of the hole when it snapped apart. But I can get this like a little bit more thick on here, so that any of those little bumps and things like that are going to be taken care of. And I'm going to put it onto here, not quite sideways, but I'm going to have it sticking out kind of on all different ways. Now you could just have a snippet like this, and you could put more fabric, or you could do it as something like that, and you could put it on your on a page, just on a page, and I think that would look great. I'm going to put it on a tag. This tag I made years ago, and you take a dictionary page and you block off a picture, like this one is a regal moth, and I blocked that part off, and then I used honestly, I think it was watercolors. I don't think it was sprays, because there'd be more control. Looks like there's more control than if you spray it. So I think I used that, and I just didn't go. I blocked this part off. I put something on top of it. So that one makes that stand out. And then I'm going to put this kind of on the bottom down here. So once I get that ready, I'm going to put this, my glue is getting thick. And this happens to be this green and cream colored fabric is ticking. So let's see. I'll decide how I want to put it. Maybe I should put it like this. Okay. And, you know, I could put something, if it's a snippet, you could put something on like that. I think I'm going to put that down here separately. And I don't have anything on the top yet, a hole. Sometimes I wait to do that, because I already sewed around these, because I knew that this would get in the way of sewing. So I already sewed around them. And I thought that if I wanted, you know, to put an eyelid or something like that, I like to sew first too, because it doesn't like to sew around it. So we'll put a little tag up there. And I think that makes a very interesting tag. This one I have backed with eco-dyed paper. And so then I'll just have something up here, or I'll put a little lace or, you know, whatever. When I get the actual journal that I'm going to do it in, then I'm going to decide then. Okay, now this is something I made not that long ago. This was when I ripped up papers and I threw them in a box and I squirted the inks on them, and I mixed it up, the spray inks, and then I sprayed some more and mixed it up and sprayed some more. This one I tried to make look real grungy. So I did that, and I'm going to, on this one, put some music paper. Now, for the picture, I took one of Tim Holtz's pictures. It was 4 ladies on a beach. And I centered the slide over it. And then I drew around it so that I would know how big this was. And then when I cut it out, I cut inside the lines so that I could glue this onto the back of here, and I would have the right size and it wouldn't stick out. So I went ahead and just did that, but that's what I took it out of. So I'm going to be putting this on, but I'm going to put some fabrics on too. So I think what I'll do is first put this music paper on. This is just a scrap that had music on it. Let's see here. And then I pulled out some fabrics. And I have a big basket of scrap fabrics. And I just use them to make snippets and that type of thing. So I'm going to put some on glue on here. This is Fabri-Tac. Just kind of put it on and put this piece of fabric on here. Let's see. Stick it on. Then I have another piece of fabric, kind of in the same colorway. Come on. Put that on. This one's going to kind of go like this. All right, and I have this little plaid. I hope this works out okay. Put that on like here. There. And I have a little bit of lace that I'm going to add too. So I'm kind of building a little snippet right here on the actual tag itself. And then this is going to go on top of that. Could have spread it out a little bit more, but trying to keep going here. Now I just put some glue around the outside, like on the top of the photograph, right around that square. And then I put the slide down on top of it. And now I'm just kind of putting Fabri-Tac on it. Okay. I gotta slant it a little. Can't have it straight. And then just put it down. I didn't get any fabric sticking out the bottom down here. But that is life. I could always add something. And I have just a tag that I'm going to put up here. And I'll angle it the opposite way of the slide. And again, I'll put something on there. Okay? So, next, I have this, and this was just I have coffee dyed paper on the back, but it was a piece of scrapbook paper. I justled it, I sprayed some things on, and I stamped on it a little bit as well. This is one of the ones I did yesterday. I left some of the darkness on it, but you see it doesn't dry real dark. And I have this fussy cut that I cut out of a wildflower book. And I'm going to put that in through here so that it's kind of sticking out like this. Okay, let's see exactly where I want it. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the slide right here where I know that that's going to be. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I know the slide's going to be touching. I probably should have used my Fabri-Tac thicker. And it's going to be put on here like this. Fabri-Tac, it would have stuck faster. Now you know, you can glue this down. On the first one I did, I glued it down. I can see a little bit of a bend because it kind of went over the edge of the slide. So, you know, I might just do like the tips of it like that instead of all over this whole thing so that it doesn't show that bend. You know, we always learn things. But the rest of this is going to get glue on the whole thing. So I'm putting it on the paper. I'm putting it on the slide. You can see the writing that was on the back of the picture for the next flower. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the ends of these because they are going to be hanging off. It came out the hole. All right, let's get that on there. I think, see the Fabri-Tac is pushing the other glue out, which will dry clear. Get that down just on the tips. Get it down here. I didn't get this very good. I'm going to put a little glue on that. And then just, let's see. I have a few tags. It just says specimen on. I'll put that down here. This has a date, October 10th, 1958, and it's blue. The tag is blue and it has purple. I'm getting some of this stuff off of here onto my hands. So I'm going to tilt that kind of that way, the opposite of the way the slide is tilted. And I also have, this is green, and it has a number on it. So I am going to get that on there too, I think. I'll put it down here. There. Looks kind of cool. All right, I'm going to do one more. This is where I sprayed the flowers, and then I put different flowers and sprayed and got in different spots, and I have it backed with paper. It's on, what do you call it, file folder. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to put this bird. This is from a calendar, so it's kind of nice and stiff. So you put the glue very close to the edge. I had already cut these out. I had them inside of a folder or a thing that I kept birds in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this on here so I can see as much of the bird as I can. And with using our glitter glue to start with, I moved it around and it'll dry. And that's going to be going on here. And I'm going to put a little lace underneath it. And I'm trying to remember how I kind of had thought about doing this. I think I'm going to, I just don't like to have them 100% straight. I'm going to have that one more on the top. And then I have this Create. And I have a little flower that's not real. It's got the colors in it, but it's not real outish. But it kind of adds a little bit, I think, because of these flowers here. So I'm going to move this, and this is going to get some Fabri-Tac underneath it. Now I could have, it's sticking out a little bit more. Sometimes, like that other one I did with lace underneath it, this one, I didn't put any Fabri-Tac on the lace at all. I just put it on the back of this, and then I set it down, and it held the lace down. So that's another way you can do it. Okay. But this is going to be sticking out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to get my Fabri-Tac on the back of here. And I'm going to lay that on here. Which way should I do it? That way maybe, huh? As long as I have enough room for my flower, because I know I did it the other way before. I'm going to put some glue on this. This is I believe, it's a Tim Holtz, and it's different than some of his other ones, so maybe it was somebody else, or maybe it was just a different kind of Tim Holtz. And I'm going to put that on here. And my create verb, bring into existence. These are some labels I've had for years, and I'm trying to remember who they were from. It's been so long since I cut them out. I'm just going to put this on the bottom, right over that flower. And there we have another one. Again, I can put something on a tag up here. So just by using some pieces that I had left over, because when I experiment with backings, I always have more than I use, because I don't want to make them all look the same. And then I pull them out again later, and this way I have slides now on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different kinds of backgrounds. So I thought that turned out pretty good, and I hope that you will try it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for being with me. This is Carol. Do something you love every day. It's a secret to happiness. Bye.